This week we'll be going over all of the achievements in Hogwarts Legacy. This was one that I was pretty excited for whenever it was going to come out, but man, that was a lot longer than I expected. By the end, going through the collections was such a grind, and I've just been ready for a change in game to grind. And speaking of change, I've been kind of getting tired of this background, so that's better. So anyway, this game has 45 achievements and takes about an average of 85 hours to complete. As for what it's worth on achievement tracking websites, over on A-Stats, it's currently worth 0 points, but I'm sure that'll change eventually. 5,413 over on Steam Hunters, and 31,655 on Metagamerscore. And now, let's get to hunting. Starting out, we'll briefly go over all of these story-related, non-missable achievements in the game. Luckily, there aren't any super missable achievements in the game, so you can just kind of run through it all and play it all naturally and come back to clean these up afterwards if you want. I would, however, recommend trying to pay attention to and get everything for the collections, as that's going to be where you spend a lot of time grinding at the end if you don't work on it during your playthrough as well. Also, make sure you use your ancient power on as many enemies as possible and maybe keep track of the different types you use it on. We'll explain why a little bit later. So first we have the Sort who makes an entrance for completing the introduction and finishing the sorting ceremony. This is early on once you get to Hogwarts and choose your house. Then we have First Class Student for attending your first class. This will be either mission 3 or 4 for attending one of those two classes for your first day. Next is Troll with the Punches for surviving the troll attack on Hogsmeade. This is after you go through those first day classes and head out to Hogsmeade with your friend of choice. And we all know the only real choice is Sebastian, but that part doesn't matter for this achievement. Then there's 4 map chamber achievements: the Auror's Apprentice for doing it as Hufflepuff, the Gryffindor in the Graveyard for doing it as Gryffindor, the Wise Owl for doing it as Ravenclaw, and the Toast of the Town for doing it as Slytherin. I of course was Slytherin in my main playthrough, so that was the first one that I got. This will unlock at Main Quest 18 for all of these. And so after you do the first one, for the other 3, you're going to need to start new games and speedrun through the first portion of the game to get each of these achievements. It doesn't take too terribly long, maybe an hour or 2, but it is kind of an annoying grind since there is a lot of dialogue to get through. Luckily, you can just spam the skip button to speed it up until someone decides to stop and stare you down for a while. Then you can keep speedrunning. That was a funny little bug the first time, but then it got pretty annoying shortly thereafter. Shortly after that, we'll get to That's a Keeper for meeting Charles Rookwood in the map chamber. You'll go through a few missions, and on mission 23, Percival Rackham's Trial, you'll get this. Next will be the Defender of Dragons for saving a dragon. This will be a while later on during the main story mission number 34. You'll go through a poacher arena and eventually save a dragon. Then we have the Hallowed Hero for wielding a deathly hallow. This is during the main story mission number 40, Niamh Fitzgerald's Trial. Right after that, we can get Coasting Along for visiting Poidsere Coast. You can technically do this before main mission 41, but if you don't, then you'll get it then when you have to go out to the southeast most portion of the map. Then the One Who Mastered Memories is for viewing all pensive memories. This will be during main mission 43, San Bakar's Trial. You get all of the others during the other story missions, but this is where you get that last one needed. Next is Grappling with a Graphorn for subduing the Lord of the Shore. This you'll also get during the main mission 43, San Bakar's Trial. It'll be after the really big Graphorn fight. You can't miss it. The Hero of Hogwarts is for defeating Ranrock. This is for completing the main quest 45, the Final Repository. And then for the last main story achievement, we have the Seeker of Knowledge for winning the House Cup. Because we were the best students and stopped Ranrock from gaining ancient powers and taking over everything, we get 100 points. And I guess that's enough for your house to win, easy enough. Now with those out of the way, we can start getting into missable achievements. This first little section will be for your friends' side storylines, which you can do some of during the main story, but will have quite a bit to do on the side as well. First will be a Sallow Grave for completing Sebastian Sallow's relationship line. This is a pretty long quest line and has to do with learning unforgivable curses to save Sebastian's sister. Definitely the darkest of the side storylines, but this is where you can learn those cool spells like Avada Kedavra.
Avada Kedavra!
Fun. Then the Avenging Gazelle is for completing Natsia Onai's relationship line. This is for getting through all of her storyline, which is kind of long, but not as long as Sebastian's. Then Beast Friends will be for completing Poppy Sweeting's relationship line. This one is all about poachers and trying to save large, rare beasts from them. Then sort of related due to the fact that they're related to a side quest to start doing it, or it being another small side quest line, we have a few achievements from things like that. Followed the Butterflies is for following the butterflies to a treasure. You don't have to do the quest related to this to start doing these, but you do want to go through all of the butterflies as they have collection items that you're going to need later on for the Collector's Edition achievement. One of the areas that you unlock during the main story is the Room of Requirement. For Loom of Improvement, you're going to need to upgrade a piece of gear. This is something you'll gain the ability to do while going through the Deeks line of quests for Main Mission 28, the Elf, the Knapsack, and the Loom. Along with that, you'll also be able to get 3rd times a charm for upgrading a piece of gear 3 times. It just takes a little bit of beast capturing and grinding. And then for the last quest achievement related to Deek, we have Rising from the Ashes for rescuing a Phoenix. This will be during the side quest, Phoenix Rising. Then Flight the Good Flight is for beating Imelda's time in all broom races. It's not hard to do, and you'll get this for going through the quest line to buy broom upgrades, as that takes you to all of these races. Just make sure that you beat Imelda at each one and boom, you'll get the achievement. Then moving on to some miscellaneous achievements, we have a Keen Sense of Spell for invoking Ancient Magic for the first time. This is something you'll get early on for using your Ancient Magic meter as it fills. Then related to that is Finishing Touches for using Ancient Magic on every enemy in the game. This you're going to want to be doing all throughout the game in order to get it done semi-naturally. One thing to note is that you only have to use Ancient Magic on all of the enemy types, but not the special named ones. So it ends up only being 34 types of enemies that you need out of the 69, nice, in the enemies collection. Next is a talent for spending 5 talent points. You'll get talent points as you level up, and you can start spending them once you reach the map chamber. Related to that is Savvy Spender for spending all talent points. This can be done once you reach the max level, and then you can spend all of those points. Speaking of being max level, we also have a Forte of achievement for reaching level 40. So there's that. Then Challenge Accepted will be for completing all tiers of a challenge. You can do this with any of the challenges available. Once you complete that last part of it, you'll get the achievement. And speaking of completing tiers, you can support the channel greatly by hitting the join button below the video and becoming one of the tiers of channel member. Next up is raising expectations for reaching a combo of 100. You might think this would be hard to do, but it really isn't. Just head out to this place here in the Forbidden Forest, and here you'll find an old building with a single Infernius sitting here. If you start spamming it with your basic cast over and over again, you can grind your way up to a combo of 100 very easily. The Spellmaster is for learning all spells. You only need the normal spells and not the unforgivable curses for this, so just go through and do all of the lessons with the teachers to get all of these spells learned. Then Root of the Problem is for stunning 10 different enemies using a Mandrake. You can either grow Mandrake or buy them in Hogsmeade, but either way you get them, just take a few off to some large groups of enemies and then use it to rack those numbers up. A very easy way to bump those numbers up greatly and very quickly is to go to a battle arena and use it on the larger waves. Next we'll get the Ends Petrify the Means for defeating a total of 50 enemies using Petrificus Totalis. This is for going invisible, sneaking up behind enemies, and then hitting X or whatever button it is for you to defeat them with one quick and silent spell. You didn't know this could be a stealth game too, did you? Spilled Milk is for using Flipendo 10 times to tip one cow or several. Very self-explanatory, just find a cow, which there are many little ranches around the map for, and use Flipendo to keep flipping a cow until you get this. Then there's Room with a View for reaching the highest point in the castle, the Headmaster's Upper Study. In order to get up to the study, you're going to need level 3 of Alohomora to unlock the locks leading up there. This you'll get after you get through the side quest of the Man Behind the Moons with Gladwin Moon for finding and bringing him Demiguise Moons. If you need to know where they are, I have a video specifically going over the Demiguise Dread achievement for the locations of all of the Demiguise. You'll then also need to already be through the Polyjuice Plot main story mission, where you can then go to the very top of the Grand Staircase until you get to the Trophy Room, where you need to unlock this level 1 door here. Then go up these stairs all the way up to this junction where you'll take a left, and go to this level 2 locked door. Go through there and head out onto the balcony and up here where there's going to be a level 3 locked door to get through. Then through there, you'll be at the headmaster's study and get the achievement. Now at this point, we've got a lot of collectible achievements. We've gone over a few of the smaller ones already, but we have a lot more to go. First out of these, we have going through the potions for brewing every type of potion. This one isn't too bad, just go into the room of requirement to brew some potions, see what they need for the recipes, and either buy or grow those plants. If you need to buy any recipes, they can be purchased in Hogsmeade. Speaking of growing plants, we also have put down roots for growing every type of plant. Similar to the potions, you just have to buy blueprints and seeds for each one in Hogsmeade and then grow them in the room of requirement. Floo around the world will be for unlocking all of the Floo flames. These will have markers on the map showing, so you can use that to go to all of them, but I also made a video going over every one of these locations for these in order to help you get this a little bit easier. I did this early on and it definitely helps quite a bit with the rest of the game if you do get these done early. Next we can get Rise to the challenges for defeating all enemies in all battle arenas. There are only 3 of these in the game, so this isn't too hard to get done. They can just take a little bit to get through all of the waves. Something to note is that one of these arenas are only available if you do have the Dark Arts Pack DLC. Then the Intrepid Explorer is for discovering all Karn dungeons. There are 12 of these on the map and they all have some main quest or side quest tied to going through them, so this is one that you'll get while going through all of the other achievements anyway. Merlin's Beard is for completing all of the Merlin trials. These are also marked on the map, but I made a video going over all of these trials as well as how you can complete the puzzles for them. This is another good one to do early on as it gives you more bag slots to hold gear so that you can grind for longer before having to take a trip out to Hogsmeade to sell your extra gear. Next we'll go over the Good Samaritan for completing all side quests. There are 57 of these side quests in the game and I'll show a scrolling list of them on screen as well as a list over on my website linked in the description. Then the Nature of the Beast is for breeding every type of beast. There are 12 beasts that count towards this and you'll gain the ability to do this by going through Deke's series of quests. I even made a guide specifically going over this one as well to help make this easy to do. Now lastly, we have Collector's Edition for completing all collections. This is the big one. The one that everything else we do for all of these other achievements is helping us work towards. I'll have a Google Sheets list linked on my written guide on the website if you want to use that to help you as you go through the game. Shout out to Seawaffle Run for creating that. So getting into all the collections, there's 9 tools, which are the potions and plants that can be used as tools. These unlock as you find them or purchase them from merchants. 150 Revelio pages. For these, you'll want to zoom out on the map and look at each region, and up in the top right, you'll see a count of how many collectibles you've gotten from each region, including the Revelio pages. Then just look up lists for each region for the ones that you can't find. If you want me to make some guides specifically going through all of these, let me know in the comments, but there are a lot of collection items. 69 enemies, don't we all? For the most part, you'll find all of these naturally, but the ones that you don't find naturally will likely be the special named enemies. Go through doing the infamous foes collectibles on the map in order to make sure you get all of those. 78 appearances. There are a lot done through challenges and quests, and then some that are obtained through just exploring. You only need the non-DLC ones out of this though, so as long as you have the 78 outside the DLC, then you'll be good to go. 13 beasts, which you'll get from doing the beast breeding achievement as well as rescuing the phoenix. 13 brooms, 4 of these will be related to popping balloon challenges, 5 are from sprint witches in Hogsmeade, and then 4 are from specific vendors across the map. 75 traits, which can be found from the collection chests and bandit camps marked on the map. 42 wand handles, which are found in collection chests marked on the maps. 16 ingredients, which you'll likely get from just picking up plants and grabbing the loot from dead enemies. You can also purchase them if needed for some reason. 140 conjurations. This is probably the least favorite for people as it can be a bit tough to figure out unless you've got a good guide. Lucky for you, you're sticking around to the end of a Pandallax guide, so you get all of the tips that I've picked up along the way. The conjurations come from a mix of vendors in Hogsmeade, quest rewards, challenge rewards, and exploration. Exploration can be a little bit confusing, as you'll still be missing some after you're going through and cleaning up all of the collectibles listed on the maps. Well, that's because the butterflies that lead you to chests also reward you with conjuration items. Unfortunately, these don't show up on the map until you're pretty much right on top of them, so we'll quickly go over where these are in the map in each area. So if you get to that point where you're looking for butterflies, just come back to this part of the guide and pause at each of these locations to see the area on the map where each of these are located. And again, if you're missing any of these after you've gotten all of the ones listed on the map counters, it's likely going to be from butterflies, or maybe the more embarrassing one that I had, a challenge reward that you forgot to claim. Oof. And with that, we have all of the achievements in Hogwarts Legacy. Now, if you're interested in 100%ing Hogwarts Legacy, you have got to check out my Hogwarts Legacy playlist with all of my guides for the game.